Hey y'all, today in this video, I'm going to share 3 things you should not be paying for when you start a nonprofit. Let's get into it. Hey y'all, this is Tiffany with Boss on a Budget. If you don't know who I am, I help new and small nonprofits get up and running, and also I help nonprofits raise money when they're starting out. So I wanted to do a quick video to help you out if you're in the startup process and you're trying to figure out what to spend money on and what not to spend money on. Because trust me, there's a lot of things you could be spending your money on, but there are absolutely some things you need to avoid. So I'm just going to go through 3 of those today. If you want a better understanding of the cost of starting a nonprofit, I do have another video which breaks down the cost. So I'm going to link that above and also put the link down in the description box. All right. But for this video, I'm going to share the 3 that I mentioned. And also at the end of the video, I'm going to give you some suggestions of what to spend your money on. So if you do have limited resources and you need to figure out where's the best use of my time and my resources, I'm going to give you some pointers if you wait to the end of the video. So let's get right into it. So the first thing you should absolutely not be paying for is your employer identification number. This is your EIN, okay? You get this number by going to the IRS website. It used to be that you had to fill out a form and you faxed it and all that kind of stuff. You can still do it if you want to, but it's way easier just to go online. It takes 5 minutes to get your EIN, and then you can immediately get a PDF version of your letter which says that this is your EIN, which is confirming that you have it, all right? The EIN is basically identifying you as an organization, as a business to the IRS. This is the number that they're going to use to look you up when it comes to approving your 501c3 status, and also you can need to use it when you submit your tax forms for your nonprofit. So this number is very important, but it absolutely is free. You're going to see some people out there or some services that are going to try to get you to pay money to do this for you. But I'm telling you, it is so easy. All you have to do is identify that you're a nonprofit and then share a little bit more information, and you can get your EIN number very quickly. If someone's charging you for that, I would really question what they're doing and why they're doing it and why they're asking for pay, because it's so simple. It's a public website. It's on the IRS website. I'm actually going to link the link to get your EIN below. Don't fall for it. You can get it yourself. I do want to clarify really quickly that when you get your EIN number, that doesn't mean that you are approved as a 501c3 organization. That's actually one of the mistakes I made when I was first starting out. I thought once I had the EIN for the nonprofit, I was good and I didn't need to do anything else for the IRS. But if you actually want to apply for 501c3 status, you have to fill out it's 2 different versions of a form. So I actually share some more information about that in the video that I'm linking above and also in the description box. So if you need help trying to figure out how to apply for 501c3 status, then make sure you check out those videos. The second thing you shouldn't be paying for is your DUNS number. So I actually also have a video on what is a DUNS number. I'm linking it above as well. And it's a number that you apply for to establish your business credit file. So it's sort of like your social security number for your nonprofit, right? It's the number that's associated with credit decisions for your nonprofit business, right? So in order to get this number, it is absolutely free. You do not have to pay to get a DUNS number, right? You go to dnb.com. I'm linking that below just so you can have it. And you go there, you enter some information about your business. You need to make sure that you have a legit address to put in there, and then you can get your number, right? And there may be additional steps based on certain things that they have to confirm about your business. But if someone is asking for money to do this for you, then you may want to think twice about paying that person. This is absolutely free, and it really is just providing information so they can confirm that you're associated with the business so they can release that number to you. So it shouldn't require money to do this. Now you're going to encounter some scammy-like behavior when you start looking up this kind of stuff. Even when it comes to the EIN number, if you were to Google DUNS number or how to get a DUNS number, you may come across some sites that are like, oh, pay $100 and you can easily get your DUNS number. That's why it can be kind of confusing, because you're like, well, I see this stuff and they're asking me to pay, but you have to always read the fine print. Sometimes they're just asking you for add-on services. They're not necessarily asking you to pay just to get the DUNS number, but they try to put it out there like that. But they're actually giving you a different kind of service, or giving you like another tier of credit monitoring or something that you probably don't even need at that stage in the game when you're just starting. So I want you to be mindful that when you do Google these terms, there are going to be some things that come up that make you think, oh, wait a minute, maybe I do have to pay. But I'm just clarifying for you for this video that as of when I'm recording it in the summer of 2022, both of those numbers, the EIN number and the DUNS number, are completely free to get, and you should not have to pay anybody to get them. So the third thing you should not be paying for, especially as a new nonprofit, is to submit a grant. So let me clarify this, okay? So I'm not talking about you shouldn't be paying for a grant writer, though I have some opinions on that. I'm gonna say that for another video. I'm talking about actually paying to submit a grant to a grant funder. So if a grant funder is asking you for money before they make a decision about funding you something, then I would just be a little bit careful about that. There may be some rare situations where maybe it's like a membership organization and each member pays something to get in, but as a benefit of being a part of the organization, one of the organizations gets funded every month or something like that, right? So I can see how in that situation it makes sense, but for the majority of the time, if you have to pay just to submit a grant to a funder, that's a red flag to me. So I just want you to be mindful that in most circumstances, when you're applying for a grant, you're applying as a nonprofit, usually the funder is required to give away a portion of their money to you. As funders, most funders are required to give a percentage of their earnings. So you shouldn't have to be paying for anything, because this is something they're supposed to do anyway. So if you find that you have to submit money in order to make that process work or to apply for a grant, then there's probably something wrong and you need to investigate a little bit further. Okay, so I promised to share some tips about, okay, where do you spend your money? So I already talked about where you should not be spending your money. And so I thought it would be helpful to talk about what should you be spending your money on. So the first thing I think you should be thinking about is branding. So it's really important when you're a new nonprofit to gain the trust and credibility of your local community and the people who you want to support you. And that could be individuals, that could be businesses or funders, right? So in order to increase your visibility, you have to have a strong brand. You have to establish yourself so people understand who you are, what you're about. And in order to do that, you have to have a solid messaging. The information or the visuals you put out needs to connect to the type of work you do. So you need to make sure you have a website. You need to make sure you have a logo, you have a strong name that you've registered and things like that. You need to make sure you have a strong message or a strong story that talks about why your nonprofit exists. Doing all of that kind of work helps with gaining credibility and also gaining funding. So if I were to think about where to put my money in the beginning, I absolutely would be investing in the things I just named. So you should be having a logo. It doesn't have to be super fancy or anything like that, but you want something that people can recognize when they see it. You want to be clear on your brand colors. You want to present the same kind of images or the same kind of fonts and colors consistently so people can begin to recognize you. You want to make sure that if you're not good at crafting a story, that you invest in someone who can help you kind of pull out your nonprofit story so you can talk about it when you meet people. And I absolutely would invest in a website, whether that's you doing it yourself or whether it's you paying someone to do it. Now, I do believe that in the beginning, you should not be paying thousands of dollars for a website. Let me just be clear. Just because I'm saying pay for it doesn't mean I'm saying pay a lot, a whole lot. Because in the beginning, you're still very new and things are absolutely going to change and shift for your nonprofit. And so you don't want to invest so much money and then have to change it a year later. So you should have something that looks good, streamlined, and simple that you're presenting out there in terms of your website, but just know that it may change and adjust, right? And so the more it changes and adjusts, maybe more money for you. So if you put all the money up front, then you're not going to have the funding you need to make the tweaks to the website. So just keep that in mind though. You do want to have a strong website in the beginning, because when people come to check out your organization, they need to make sure that you're legit, and your website helps establish that level of credibility. The other thing I would spend money on, if I had to think about, okay, where to spend my resources, I would think about a consultant that can help you kind of hammer out a strategic plan, help you identify your mission and your vision, help you get clear on your values, help you to craft like that initial budget, help you to come up with a financial plan, help you to do a market analysis to see what's out there, what exists, what gap do you feel in the market, help you figure out what your strategic goals should be, and then how to plan around those goals and how to identify the right people to help execute those goals and have deadlines around those goals. Now, I'm going to say this, you don't necessarily need a consultant to do that for you. But if you find that that's not your strong suit, if you find like planning and writing stuff down and doing research and all of that, it's just not where you shine, then it may be worth it to bring somebody in to help guide you through that. Now, I'm not saying that they need to do it for you, because you got to understand all of those things, right? You can't just ship it off to somebody and say, hey, just write me a business plan and I'm going to take it and execute it. You and your board and the people you serve and your volunteers or anyone else who's associated with you in the beginning needs to be a part of the development process of that strategic plan, of any plan that you put together, so that it can be executed well. So I don't recommend you just get a consultant and just tell them to submit a plan for you and you just have a plan that you're actually not going to use. No. But if it's someone who can help you organize your thinking, organize your strategy, give you clear guidance on where to go next and how to go about it and where to find the right resources and where to go to keep leveling up, then yes, that money will be well spent. All right. So I thought I just would share a little bit of insight. I hope that was helpful. If you have any other comments below, any other thing where you found like, yeah, you shouldn't have to pay for that, then I want you to list that in the comments below. I want you to help your fellow nonprofit founders out, because we're all a community and we got to help each other out, right? So if you need help with your nonprofit, don't forget to visit me at www.bossandabudget.com. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.